We're recording. You can go ahead and go.
Okay, I just need to make sure who we have here. Okay, so I will start the Environmental Control Committee meeting at 7:35 p.m. Present are committee members, our council president, all of council, the mayor, the law director, the finance director, and guests. Oh, our police chief Wagner and guests. On our agenda this evening is 2021-22, but if it doesn't matter to anyone, I'd like to go ahead with 2021-23 first, which is our little truck. All right, so we have 2021-23, a resolution authorizing the mayor to purchase one Kubota mini excavator and trailer from Akron Tractor and Equipment at a cost of $102,596 through the state purchase program, and further authorizing the mayor to execute all contract documents and declaring an emergency. So I'm assuming, Mayor, you'd like to take that for me, please?
Yeah, Madam Chairwoman, I would. This is the Kubota, the mini excavator that we talked about many times in our budget meetings. This is not, just as a reminder, this is not a replacement. This is one that's added. Our sanitary crew already has one. This will be exclusively for our storm crew, so they'll each have one. Again, as you mentioned, it comes with a trailer, and that's again, this has been discussed in budget. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
The only question that I have is, could you or Mr. DeFranco, somebody kind of describe how we're going to use it, just so that I know? I didn't bother, and I apologize, I didn't call. Usually I call ahead, like to the wastewater treatment plant or to someone that knows the city engineer to kind of tell me what the little truck does. So if somebody can tell us what it does, I think that that would be.
Yeah. Madam Chairwoman, I'd be more happy to. I mean, the key to this is that it just blocks one lane of traffic. It's like a mini digger, So in other words, instead of having this full size thing out there on the streets blocking two lanes, it does all the various things that a bigger one would do. Just it's more compact and easier to use to just block one lane of traffic as we're working.
So it's going to then
like a mini backhoe.
Yeah, so it's going to clean out our drainage ditches and any other items. What is it?
Well, mostly for the streets crew. So it'll be digging up streets. It'll be, as they find problems, they need to dig it up. They would typically have a bigger unit, but it would block a lot of traffic. So this would be just like a smaller version of that, better for the streets.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions from committee? Questions from council? Okay, seeing none, hearing none, I'd like to make a motion that we recommend to all of council 21-23 and ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Thank you so much. Okay, we will now be moving on to resolution 2021-22, a resolution authorizing the Department of Public Service to solicit quotes for the award of a contract to provide construction services for the 2021 Catch Basin Rehabilitation Program, and authorizing the mayor, following approval of the Board of Control, to contract for the same with the lowest and best contractor. Mr. DeFranco or Mayor?
Yeah, I'll start off, and if Pete has something to add, he can do that. This was again discussed in budget. The cost of construction is anticipated not to exceed $50,000. Bowen or Pete DeFranco will assist in design, document preparation, bidding assistance, and construction administration. Storm foreman Mike Bosa will prepare a priority list of catch basins focused on streets that are rated 5 to 8, so that we're not disturbing recently resurfaced streets. Well, everyone in the city wants wants the structures replaced with precast concrete rather than brick, because brick ends up winding up in the system as we vac out plenty of bricks from our storm system. The intent is to perform initial batch of maybe 10 or 20 with an option of calling the contractor back for a batch or two more as we discover more problems. And again, the idea behind this has been, now that we've got some newer equipment, we're going to be out there cleaning the catch basins and jetting the storms, and we want to keep moving on with that. When we find a catch basin, we just report it to who we're subcontracted to, they get it done.
So how do you think then that will stay under $50,000 if you expect it to be in an ongoing program?
Well, that's what's budgeted for this year.
I see. Okay. So the person in charge of this that you're calling the Department of Public Service is going to be our Mike Bosa, storm crew foreman?
Yes.
Okay. And how long has he had that position? Since we don't have a service director, I have to rely on some other questions to know how that person, even though he's our foreman and we trust his work and expertise, I still need to know how long of an expert he's been.
Well, he's been with the city 25 years, working in forestry and storm. He's been the foreman for a couple years, maybe less than a couple years.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, absent a service director who we always relied on, I just need to have the information. Okay, and my next question is, described all that, estimated cost. And is that coming out of which of our funds? Maybe the finance director can answer that.
It's in the general fund under the storm sewer division.
Okay. All right, so now the other thing is in the legislation at section 2, it says that it would take effect after the earliest period allowed by law. Law director, when would this be effective? Would you tell me that?
The legislation itself would be effective 30 days after approval by the mayor.
Okay, thank you. And do I have any questions from committee? Questions from council? No. Okay. Law director, I have an amendment that I'd like to put forth for this piece of legislation, for this resolution, and I don't know how best to do that. I'd actually like for those quotes and bids to come back before council for evaluation and not be under the complete jurisdiction of the Board of Control for their approval and execution. So how do we make that amendment in this piece of legislation?
Madam Chair, if I may.
Please.
Thank you. If it's the will of the council committee and the council itself, I can present an amendment to the committee at the request of the committee, and the amendment would then be presented once it leaves committee to the floor of council. And if all of council, well, if 4 members of council approve, then that's the ordinance that we'll work off of. But if it's the request that there be some other format utilized, if the committee itself by at least 2 votes asks that I do that, then I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll bring it to you, and then you can decide if that's appropriate for your needs, and then vote it that way, make an amendment or recommend approval with an amendment, and then off it goes to council. So if that's what you'd like, just give me a little bit of direction so I know which direction to go, and I'll take a look at it.
Okay. Would like to, at this time, make a motion to amend 21-22 with the preferred language of the law director, of course, that this bid process, sorry, it's not a bid process, that the quoting and award of the contract be brought back to council for review, discussion, and award. And I'd like to ask for a second on that.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 All right, I would then, do I need to make a motion to hold this in committee for that amendment, Mr. Law Director?
Well, I think it probably not a bad idea, because this is a little bit different of an amendment. So that I'll go ahead and proceed with drafting language. I'll reach out to you and have that discussion to make sure I understand specifically what it is that you want to cover. And then it probably would I know there's a season that they're trying to work off of for the rehabilitation process.
Absolutely. I don't want to hold this up for that. I mean, to move it along through, through voting. Mhm.
Understood. I mean, I can work on, I'm out of town tomorrow through Monday. I can try to put together some language on Monday when I get back, but that's Tuesday, and and I'm not sure what you'd like to do for that period of time. But I know the season's upon us, and maybe there's an issue with getting this moving. So I'll see what I can do to put together the language. Unless you have a second meeting before the committee meeting, before the council meeting on Tuesday, and I'll see if I can get you some language by then. But I mean,
Law Director, I would plan on having another meeting before then to just go over the amendment. I think if it's circulated, it should be pretty simple to do, because certainly I wouldn't want to have this go longer. Mr. Kelly?
If there's a concern about the timeliness of this, you could always amend to also add as an emergency to knock off that 30 days. Thank you.
Good suggestion, thank you. And Law Director, could this go on suspension or it could not?
there's an issue about capital improvements and not suspending capital improvements by charter. So we couldn't suspend or emergency the 3 readings in 30 days is what it's going to do. So it's kind of stuck in that program, that process, because of the type of project that it is. But so it's got a little bit of time ahead of it. But nevertheless, it's going to change it so that we can change it a little bit, because the resolution it's to authorize the bids and then to bring the bid proposals back to council for award of the contract. The second legislation is the one that's going to need 3 readings in 30 days. So if we amend it this way, then we can probably suspend this one and then proceed with the second one. It's probably a better way to do it. I can look at it.
Okay. Ms. Williamson, did you have a question?
No.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Then I will make a motion to hold 2021-22 in committee pending the amendment drafted by the law director, and ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0, and I conclude at 7:48. Thank you.